It's an ASMR video. Today I'm giving you guys a part 2 of the college/university tips. Um, and yeah, so in the first part, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. We talked about 5 things, and in the second part, I'm going to try and talk about 5 things as well. So we'll give you guys a nice 10 tips. So first thing, remember why you're there. And what that means is you want to remember why you're going to university. You know, you're going to university to get a degree. You're not going there to party. You're not going there to, meet a bunch of girls or guys. You're going there to get a degree and hopefully to do well in that degree, not just to pass. And so, anytime you want to go do something else instead of studying, instead of doing an essay, anytime you want to go out to a club or go out partying or go out with a girl or a guy, you're taking away from your studying in a way. Obviously, if you've done a lot of studying, after a long day and you just want to relax, that's completely understandable. But just know that you're there to get a degree and try and not let anything come in between you and that, too much at least. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, lectures aren't always the most important thing, and what I mean by that is, so basically in the UK, the system is structured, in my degree it was at least, where we had lectures, which could be anywhere from 40 people to 400 people. And then we'd also have seminar groups or workshop groups, and those would have more around anywhere from 10 to 20 people. And it was for the same classes, but you'd go more in depth, you'd do more practical exercises. So in an accounting lecture, for example, they teach you all the equations and stuff, but then in the workshop you'd actually be applying those equations to balance sheets or income statements and things like that. So what I would say is lectures are important, but I skipped quite a bit just because I would rather do essays or I would rather do practical things, and that's not me endorsing skipping class. But if you feel as though you might get more out of studying for an hour than going to a lecture for an hour, then you don't have to show up every single day right on time for a lecture if it's not going to be beneficial for you in the long run. I know there was always this lecturer that he would go over 10 of his PowerPoint slides and leave and have an 80 slide PowerPoint for the lecture. So every time I would go, I'd have to do the 70 other lectures by myself anyways. And I remember once, one of his lectures was the day before I had a really big essay due, and I was doing my references and stuff, and I wanted to do a few proofreads of the essay, so I just decided to skip the lecture, do the proofreads. I ended up doing really well on the essay, and I eventually got around to doing all 80 slides of the lecture. So yeah. Also, something to take note of is that in the UK, attendance for my degree, it wasn't, you didn't have to show up to every class. You wouldn't get marked down if you didn't show up, which I think differs. I think is a bit different in the States. So yeah. Okay, number 3, do a society or group or extracurricular activity, whatever you want to call it. So I did band society. I'm pretty into music, so I did band society when I was in university. And I know there's a lot of people who didn't do any sort of society. That's what they're called in the UK. I'm not sure what they're called in the US. I kind of regret it just because, there's a social aspect to uni as well. And you are there to get your degree, but, you have free time outside of the degree. Or at least you should have free time outside of your degree. And I think it's really good to build that community and build that part of yourself whether that's through band or through, maybe a sport or any sort of extracurricular activity. So I would highly suggest doing that, even if you're already past your first or your second year, join one in your third or fourth year, because, you don't want to regret not doing it, I guess. Um, this is more for, so in the UK, you have to apply for what degree you're doing typically before you go, but I know in the US you can decide during your first and second year, I think, on like what your actual major, like what your degree is going to be in. So I would suggest when choosing a degree you need to balance it on a spectrum of lucrative, so how much money you can make off of getting a degree in that field, and what you enjoy. Um, so, there's a lot of people that are studying art and music, and then there's a lot of people like that are studying art and music because they like it. And then there's a lot of people studying, you know, accounting, investment banking, whatever, just because they want money, or becoming a doctor or a lawyer. And I'm not saying either of those sides aren't right for some people, but I think the key is you need to try and make sure that when you do graduate, your degree was worth it. So you're going to actually it's an investment, you're going to make money back from the degree. And also make sure that you're not dreading your degree the entire time you're doing it, and you don't hate what you're doing and hate what you're studying, because then you won't want to study. So I chose to be a marketing major because I really enjoyed doing it, and it has a pretty good amount of career opportunities. So I got pretty lucky with being on that spectrum. Obviously, if you want to pursue something like music, maybe don't only look at the performance side of it. Maybe also look at becoming an events organizer, or something like that, a concert organizer. It's obviously really hard, and it's completely dependent on who you are and like what you want to study. But it's definitely something to consider. There's typically a clash between parents and their kids, where parents typically want their kids to pursue something that's more lucrative and money making, while kids want to pursue the thing that might be less likely to make money. And obviously, this is all just based on averages. But at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be doing the degree, so you have to make that decision for yourself, hopefully. So don't, the only reason your parents are saying that is most likely just because they want, to not have to worry once you graduate and you're getting jobs. They want you to just be okay with money. It's not because your parents hate what you want to do. It's just they want you to be financially stable. So just, consider that. Consider both sides of the spectrum of money and fun, for lack of a better word. And, see where it goes. Consider everything. And finally, for people that haven't actually gone to college yet, consider whether you need to go at all. And I guess this can apply to people who are still in their first year of college, or maybe even second. Obviously, once you're 3-4 years in, you might as well just finish the degree. Just, you're not saving much money if you just drop out. But I think, now that a college degree has become such a normalized thing in society, it's such a common thing for people to have, especially an undergraduate degree. Consider if you need to go in the first place, because, I've been applying to jobs in the business world, and I see on a lot of applications, like, sometimes they aren't looking for a degree, sometimes they are, but they're not looking at one where you have to get that high of a grade. And, in all the interviews I've been into, 80/90% of the questions they have are based on previous job experience. experience and not necessarily my degree itself. So consider whether you need to do that. Like if you're going to start, a lot of people have started their own business that didn't go to college. A lot of musicians didn't go to college. A lot of just artists in general. You know, not every career path needs a college degree. And I'm not telling you not to go to college or university because I did. But if you don't want to go, you know, it's not the end of the world. And you can always go to trade school if you want to become, you know, if you want to become some sort of, you know, someone that works like from a trade school. I don't know exactly what the professions outside of that would be, like a mechanic, for example. Sorry that took a while. But if you want to do something like that, definitely consider going to a trade school. Or I know it's pretty common in the US for people to do like their first 2 years of college at a community college and then transfer over to a real university. Because tuition in the US is just extremely high, you know, and that's the main reason I say consider if you need to go to college in the first place, because it is an investment. But, you know, in the US at least, it can be a 6-figure investment, and you have to consider whether your career path needs that, and I guess whether the career path is eventually going to be able to pay back all of the loans you have from university or college. So yeah, those are my total of 10 tips for university or college students, or people that are going to be going to university or college students. I can probably come up with 15 tips if you guys want another video. You know, let me know if you found the advice or tips helpful this far. I've noticed that a lot of the views I've been getting on my videos are from people that are not subscribed, so please subscribe if you're not already. Don't forget to like this video and let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. See you guys.